In this video, let us look into the time intelligence function in DAX. With the help of time intelligence function, you can gain insight from date and time perspective. Some of the calculations that you can do are year to date, month to date, quarter to date, or same period last year, etc. Now suppose I want to analyze my total revenue year to date. So suppose I have data for 3 or 4 financial years and I want to calculate the revenue by year. So let us start our demo by performing a year to date or YTD calculation. So with the YTD function, you can find the aggregate of values from the beginning of the year to a specific date. So let me delete this and add the column start of month. Let me remove this hierarchy. So this is the revenue for financial year 2015, 16 and 17. Now to calculate the year to date revenue, I'll add a new measure. I will name this revenue YTD. So I'll start with the function calculate and the expression will be total revenue. Now to perform the year to date calculation, we have to use the function dates YTD. Now similar to the YTD calculation, if you want to perform quarter to date and month to date, you can use these functions. For this example, I'll take dates YTD. The first argument is dates. So for that, I'll give the calendar date. Close the bracket and hit enter. Okay, so we now have the revenue YTD over here. Let me drag this measure to the matrix. So you can see over here that the revenue for the first month, that is January, is the same. That is total revenue and revenue YTD is the same. But for the month of February, the figures are different. Because for February, the revenue YTD is the sum of total revenue for the month of January and February. Now you can also do some formatting and highlight these values. So I'll go to format and then I'll go to conditional formatting, and over here I'll choose the revenue YTD column and I'll turn this data bars on. Now with the help of data bars, it is easy to see that the value in each row is incremental because for each month the revenue YTD is the sum of its previous months as well. So it starts from January and ends in December, and for the next year again it starts afresh from January. So this is the dates YTD, that is year to date, where the year is split into 12 months. Now if I change this dates YTD to dates MTD, then each month will be divided into individual days. That is, for example, for the month of January, it will show me for January 1, 2, 3 up to January 31st. And the revenue YTD will be the sum of revenue for that day and the previous days for that month. Now let me remove this revenue YTD. Now let us look at another scenario. Companies usually prefer performing trend analysis to understand how they are performing. So a comparison is done between the same period last month or same period last year, etc. So let's see how we can do this with the help of time intelligence function in Power BI. So for example, I want to compare the revenue for this month with the revenue of the previous month. So to do that, let me add a new measure. I will call this previous month revenue equal to calculate, and the expression is total revenue again, comma. Now for filter, since I want to calculate the revenue for previous month, the function I'll use is date add. And the first argument is dates, and this is no doubt our calendar date. So this should be calendar date, comma. Now the next argument is number of intervals. So this can be either a positive or a negative number. So whatever you enter over here, the dates will be moved by that number. So a negative number means it will move the selected date to a date before that, and a positive number means to a date after that. So in this case, I want to compare my data with the previous month's data. So I'll put a -1. So it will move to the previous month. Now if instead of this I give a 1, it will go to the next month. And now another comma. And next comes the interval. That is, by what interval you want to move it. Whether it is day, month, quarter or year. Now since we are looking for revenue data by month, our interval will be month. Now close the bracket and hit enter. Okay, so we now have the previous month revenue over here. Let us add it to the matrix. So you can see that in each row, along with the current month's data, I also have the previous month's data. Now let us look at another scenario where a company wants to set a target and then do a target versus achieved comparison. Now suppose the target for the current month is set as 105% of the previous month's revenue. So let us see how we can set that. So as usual, I'll add a new measure for that. And I'll call this target revenue. So as we said, the target is 105% of the previous month's revenue. So the formula will be previous month revenue multiplied by 1.05, which is 105%. Now I'll hit enter. So this is the target revenue. Let me add it over here. So here we have the target for every month, achievement and the previous month's revenue. So with this, now we can easily create an achievement graph or any other kind of visualization. Now let us look into our last scenario. Now suppose I want to do a same period last year calculation. For example, I want to look at the revenue for January 2016 and compare it with the revenue for the month of January in 2015. So let us see how we can calculate that. So in this case, we are doing an year-to-year comparison. So before that, let me delete this. Now let me add a new measure. So I'll name this revenue same period last year. And I'll start with the calculate function. And the expression will be total revenue. Then comma, and the filter will be the function which will be same period last year. Now for dates, we have to simply mention the calendar date. Close the bracket and enter. So here is my measure revenue same period last year. Let me add it. So you can see that there is nothing for the year 2015 as our data starts from 1st January 2015 and there is no data prior to that. But starting 2016, you can see that there is data for each month and also another data which reflects the revenue for the same month previous year. So this is how you can use time intelligence function to get better insight on your data.